Hello YouTube and welcome. Spring is finally here and I think it's just about the right time to present you this Parkside Performance Petrol brush cutter with electric ignition. The machine is equipped with 51.7 cubic centimeters Petrol 2-stroke engine with air cooling and a maximum power output of 1.45 kilowatts. The most interesting feature of the product is the dual start system. You can start the machine using the pull starter or using the electric starter and a standard 20 volts Parkside battery. The product comes with a lot of accessories, one 20 volts 2 amps hour battery, one charger, carrying bag, a spanner, 2 Allen keys, 2 shoulder harness, a mixing bottle, a trimmer head and 2 cutting discs. When you open the box, everything is pretty well packed. Like I said, a lot of accessories and parts. Starting with the engine, it's equipped with a standard pull starter. Right beneath it is the socket for the 20 volts Parkside battery. Next to it is the ignition key. The whole assembly, ignition key and battery socket, is mounted on vibration absorbing springs, which is a really nice feature. In some cases, depending on the battery chemistry, long-term vibrations can affect the life of the battery cells. On the left side of the engine is the air filter with the carburetor. And this is the air filter. The carburetor is really simple. It's equipped with a mechanical choke valve. On the lower side of the carburetor is the primer pump. And this over here is the electric starter. I'm not sure if you're able to see it, but over here we have an impeller for cooling the engine. The manufacturer of the engine is Vuyang. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Like I said, the engine is rated 1.45 kilowatts. The maximum rotation speed given by the manual is 9,500 RPMs, and the maximum rotation speed when cutting either by the trimmer head or with one of the 2 discs is 7,800 RPMs. Unfortunately, from what I can see over here, the engine is quite loud, so it's highly advisable to use it with some hearing protection. On the right side of the engine we have only the muffler. If we turn upside down the whole assembly, we can take a better look at the gas tank with a volume of 1.2 liters, and this pathetic excuse for a gas tank protection, or maybe it's a stand. I'm really confused of its purpose, but it's really fragile. If you ask me, this should have been made from aluminium. Continuing with the corrugated tubing going from the carburetor to the handlebar, it's really low quality and won't last long. I have to admit that when mounted, the handlebar is really rigid and well manufactured. The assembly and the disassembly of the pole is super easy. Parkside definitely redesigned the splines for easier insertion, but I'm not sure if this is a really good idea. They look quite minimalistic. Just like the handlebar, when fully assembled and tightened, the pole is quite rigid. 2 more interesting features. This locking button intended to lock the shaft when unscrewing an attachment, and this locking washer intended to lock the shaft when screwing an attachment. Let me demonstrate you. If you rotate the shaft to the right, it's rotating freely, but if you try to rotate it to the left, it automatically blocks the shaft. Now, if you wanna block the shaft when rotating it to the right, you have to use the locking button. Pretty nice feature. I'm not sure how long those plastic parts and tiny springs will last, but only time will show. Let me demonstrate you the feature using the trimmer head. You can see how the shaft is automatically locked, and I can tighten the trimmer head really well. Now if I try to unscrew it, the shaft is freely rotating, so I have to use the locking button. And voila, really simple and easy. The procedure is absolutely the same when installing a cutting disc. The shaft is automatically locked. And to unscrew it, you have to use the locking button. The trimmer guard is nicely manufactured from really thick plastic. Of course, if you're planning to use the second disc, there's an additional aluminum guard for it. Let's measure the weight when the machine is assembled with the smaller disc and with the aluminum guard. .85 kilograms. Despite of really liking the electric starter feature, which I still haven't tested, I'm speechless about the placement of the ignition key on the back of the machine. And not only on the back of the machine, but on the back of the operator. Each time you want to start the machine, you have to stretch your hand over the hot muffler, somehow find this cap over here, open it and press the ignition key. In the same time, the engine turn-off button is over here on the handlebar. I'm really speechless about this placement. It's just like having the turn-off switch of your car's engine on the dashboard and the ignition key to be in the trunk. Which once again proves my statement that some amazing idiots work for Parkside. Finally, it's time for some fuel testing. Let's pump a few times the primer. Next, let's close the choke. And finally, let's press the ignition button. Let's try one more time. Well, the electric starter definitely is working flawlessly. Something that really bothers me are the vibration absorbing springs of the battery socket. Those things not only are not working properly at idle, but somehow manage to exacerbate the vibrations. Let me demonstrate you. At higher RPMs they really do manage to minimize some of the vibrations, but at idle the vibrations are simply awful. This will definitely have negative impact on the battery cells. I won't be testing the machine with the trimmer head, first because it's the beginning of the spring and there's not enough grass around me, and second, even a battery operated trimmer is performing quite well with the trimmer head. I'll test it using the two cutting discs. Take a look how idiotic is the placement of the ignition key. This here is the kill switch, And someplace over here on the back of the operator, where you cannot see it, is the protective cap of the ignition button and the button itself. Like I said earlier in the video, the vibration absorbing system is not working at all, and it's even producing bigger vibrations in the system. Another problem is that the engine is a two-stroke and some of the unburned oil is thrown away from the exhaust pipe. This is oil, and some of it is landing just over the battery. Again, oil. Of course, let's test the pull starter also. In the end of the video, what more can I tell you? The machine is working just like any petrol trimmer. I really like the electric starter, but I'm highly disappointed from the placement of the ignition key, and I'm disappointed from the anti-vibration system too. Probably Parkside will sort out those issues in the next version, so we will just have to wait. Of course, you can always use the machine without the 20 volts battery and start it using the pull starter, but in this case I don't see the point of paying the extra money. You can always buy a non-performance model. As it goes for the longevity of the product, only time will show. Of course, Parkside is offering a 5 years warranty. Well, I think I've managed to cover everything about this machine. If you find the video informative, you know what to do. Bye and see you soon.